it does again remind America what's at stake here. And when you say on your network or others that that there's no cause for concern, that we don't need to adequately vet folks that come in from these countries, these 7 countries that are known hotbeds for terrorism, I think most Americans go, well, hold on a second.
But who's saying we don't need to, hold on. Who's saying we don't need to adequately vet people coming in from other countries? Who's saying that?
Well to adequately vet, and Mr. Trump would say, and this was a main theme of his campaign, that we need to adequately vet people who are coming into the country. Now, you might say...
One second here. Refugees have spent 2 years being vetted. They're vetted by a host of agencies, from the UN to the Department of Homeland Security. They have biometric fingerprinting. They have interviews. So what part isn't being adequately vetted?
It's this president's responsibility. It's this Congress's responsibility to make sure we keep our people safe.
Yeah, sure. And what are we doing
right?
But what part of that vetting are we not doing right now?
Well, this is for the administration to determine. That's why they want to take a pause and say, let's fully revamp and look at how we're vetting folks. And again, there's this conversation about, is it a ban or is it a pause? If you look at the executive order, it's a 90-day to 120-day pause to analyze whether we are doing this correctly.
Sure.
It's not a lifetime ban. It's not a 10-year ban. It's 90 days to 120 days. This is simple common sense stuff.
Yeah, not for Syrian refugees.
You need a longer time period to adequately vet the folks in Syria, because you don't have a government, you don't have a paper trail. It takes far longer to actually make sure the people that you're bringing in are people who, again, are true refugees. We've heard from the terrorists themselves that they're going to try to infiltrate our refugee program, and that's going to come from the epicenter of ISIS, which is in Syria.
Congressman, look, what I hear you saying is that Americans should be worried. Americans should be very worried about terrorism around the globe. Now, you know that more Americans are killed by lightning strikes every year than by terrorism. So how much do you want Americans to worry about terrorism here?
Well, I would just tell you, if you go to the nightclub, the gay nightclub in Orlando, and talk about what this means to that community, and you want to compare that terror attack to lightning, Alisyn, or you want to go to Boston for the bombing, and talk to those in Boston who were bombed by radical Islamic terrorists, and say you want to compare that to lightning, I challenge you to have that conversation. Because
we did go
lightning,
there.
Lightning may be random, but this is purposeful. It's death, and if the government could prevent lightning, you know what, from killing people, we would.
Yeah.
But if we can prevent terror attacks, and we can, we should.
Congressman, I did go to the Pulse nightclub. I did spend days there.
Yeah.
I did interview dozens of people who were friends of those killed, and people who were inside, who were still struggling with the emotional scars.
And they would not want you to compare that to lightning, Alisyn.
Congressman, why isn't the president talking about the white terrorist who mowed down 6 Muslims who were praying at their mosque?
Yeah, I don't know. But I would just tell you, there is a difference. That's different than this whole movement that's taken place through ISIS that's inspired attacks. I mean, are you going to compare the one attack up in Canada to all the death and destruction in Europe from refugees, or the attacks in the United States of America?
How about the Charleston church shooting? He was an extremist. He was a white extremist.
Yeah, he was. Okay.
How about that? That doesn't matter?
There's no constant thread that goes through these attacks. And you have radical Islamic terrorists and ISIS that are driving the attacks. And if you want to compare those two, maybe you can throw another one. I mean, look at Gabby Giffords. Look at Gabby Giffords, the Marxist who took her life, a leftist guy, and now you see violence and terror in the streets all across America, burning and beating people with Donald Trump hats. The violence you have to look at. You're trying to use some examples of the right. So where do we go? The left. Wait, hold on a second. The left has to say, violence is wrong. As you brought up in San Bernardino, why don't we look at Berkeley, where people get beat? Thank you. People that get beat up for wearing a Donald Trump hat, Make America Great Again hat again, or they get kicked, and stores get vandalized, and they burn and they beat. Where does the left and CNN and MSNBC stand up and go, you know what, this is wrong? If we're going to have peace in our hearts, and we're going to inspire the left.
Muslims are attacked as well, and when swastikas are spray painted onto buildings. We've been talking about all of it.
Come on.
Why are you using isolated? Why do you think that when it's a white terrorist, it's an isolated incident?
So what I'm saying is, you have a cell, a heart, a beat of ISIS that's inspiring people around the world. And do you deny that? That's going to Europe and come to America,
right?
Whether it's lone wolves. And so what's the heartbeat of the attack that you referenced in the mosque, or what happened in Charleston?
Extremism,
is there a common theme that
hatred,
runs? Okay, so
white supremacy.
Can we vet that? How should we vet that to keep ourselves safe? I'll join you in that effort. What do we do?
Do you not think it was white supremacy? This is what the shooters said it was.
Yeah, it's horrible. So what should we do? I mean, I'll join you. What do we do on the white supremacy front to make sure we don't have another attack like Charleston? I am with you on that, Alisyn.
Speak out about it, crack down on it, talk about it as extreme violence as much as we talk about all of the other terrorism that you call radical Islamic terrorism.
So let's crack down on ISIS. Let's crack down on the 7 terror countries that are riddled with terrorists, and give Donald Trump 90 days to 120 days, give him a pause to make sure he can keep us safe. Because you know what? If we could have vetted that guy who went into the mosque in Canada, or the guy that went into the church in Charleston, and kept them from those deaths, wouldn't we do that? Wouldn't we take that step together? So if we would try to prevent those attacks in America from the 2 examples you gave me, why wouldn't we, if we can protect America from people who might come in to do us harm, why wouldn't we do that? The argument is the same on both sides.
Yeah, the only problem with your argument is that there is no terror attack that a refugee, no deadly terror attack that a refugee has been responsible for.
But there have been in Europe, and many in Europe.
Right, but not here.
But again, this is a pause, Alisyn. So why not take a pause? Why not learn from Europe and say we can take a pause, we can review, we can analyze, and then we can bring those people in who are truly victims and want to come in and need a refugee status. They need a new home. I'm with you on that front.
Okay. Congressman Sean Duffy, thank you very much for the debate.